Clara Okoro. I grew up in Lagos, but I wasn't born in Lagos. I was born during the war, so my mom told me they had to get back to the east during the war. And so it happened in a place called Mbano in Imo State, a joint military hospital, I was told. That's where I was born. And she did tell me the stories about how the bombs were dropping during the war. But because I was a feisty child, it was part of the things that became folklore for my life, I had a lot of influences growing up. The most powerful ones were in the literary world, I came from a family where it was very pertinent that you had to understand that education was pivotal in everything that we needed to do. So anytime our father took us out to the beach, to my uncle's house, it was always fascinating. Anywhere I saw a piece of paper or a book, that took my fancy, and whatever was going on around me, I virtually have to stop. So essentially, the influences were basically, in making sure that books were a major part of our lives. My uncles were part of that. I remember very well when my uncle would come to visit and say, "Do you know how I can reward you today?" And I'll say, "How?" And he says, "If you can write me a letter, I'll read it, and if it's really nice, I'll buy you a present." I didn't know that these were all done to make sure that we became very entrenched in our skills, educating us in a way that eventually told the kinds of, traits that we developed later in life. These were basically majorly the influences I had growing up. They say, a woman of many parts in so many aspects. And truly, yes, because I'm a creative by nature, there are so many parts to my nature. And from a very young age, I was fascinated by colors, and nature was an intrinsic part of that. I used to find the colors that came with flowers very fascinating, and I wonder, how was this pink part of this purple in this same flower? And that used to be the sort of questions I used to ask myself. And so I guess that was where my curiosity got the better of me in terms of the beauty around me. I began to explore it. And I know that I was very fixated with magazines growing up. I used to love the way the models looked. I used to love the way the adverts were placed. And in my subconscious, I always said to myself, somehow I want to be a part of this world, And I guess growing up, those were the things that informed my fascination with the fashion industry. And so when I was in secondary school, my friends were a major part of it. We all used to sneak out to go to literary and debating society events and some other school extracurricular events. And the topmost in our agenda was always who wore the best dresses, So I guess those were my early influences in fashion. But it all came to a head in April of 2014 on a trip to Gambia. And that was when I decided I actually wanted to position myself in the fashion industry as a creative person, and to also contribute what I had inside of me, transform it into designs that I feel people should pay money for. So I guess that happened in April of 2014 in Gambia, in Banjul to be precise. And that was how, my being a woman of many parts culminated also in taking a position in the fashion industry. My Beautiful Africa is a fascinating brand, in that I was on that trip to Gambia, and the pristine beaches I saw, gave me a life-changing moment. And I said to myself, why is it that we jump into planes and travel to London, to the US, to New York, and the rest of the Western world to go on holidays. But there's so many untapped resources in Africa, beautiful landscapes, and I fell in love with my continent all over again. And I decided I wanted to name my label My Beautiful Africa, to sell the beauty of this continent to the outside world, to search out that hidden beauty that a lot of us overlook and the colonial masters didn't actually want us to see. Because the funny thing was, they started coming back to utilize these beauties. They're the ones that go to our beaches, they're the ones that go to our resorts, to our safaris and so on. And so I said to myself, I wanted to leave this continent a very satisfied and happy person who actually lived in it. And I'll search out the beauty and translate it into fashion, into a lifestyle that a lot of young people and even outsiders will be able to tap into that philosophy. And that was what led me to naming my brand My Beautiful Africa. Okay. And there was this question, a friend of mine actually asked me as an advice at one point and said, Clara, between the idea and the money, which is more important? And I said to him, if the idea is strong enough, the money will come after it. Funding is always a major part of pushing an idea off the ground, and it's very critical to actually making sure that that idea works. But if the idea is so strong and people are confident that it will bring back return on their investments, then a lot of people will come after you. So essentially it's knowing where to look for that money. But first you have to be very confident in your idea that this can generate income, and it's all going to boil down on the strategy you adopt, on the branding processes you adopt, on the systems you put in place, on the business plan you write and all that. It just means you have to sit down to analyze how you're going to get that money flowing into the business and building that brand. So but if you actually go thinking that, oh, there is no money so I can't go ahead with this, it then means you probably never get that idea off the ground. Well, I've been extremely very lucky with the brand. Even though we're just very young, it's been getting a lot of reception both here in Nigeria and outside the world. Recently, Club Africa, a business portal for air fans, I contacted them and they're going to do a big story on us. So we're reaching our targets, and just like I said, it's a lifestyle you have to adopt. Anywhere you are as an African, you can wear our brand, any item from our brand, and feel comfortable and confident in our pieces. So at places like www.mybeautifulafrica.style, you can get a whole load of lifestyle co-opted into your wardrobe by just going there. And that's really what we want to do with this brand.